Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, it's been an interesting day for Master Universe fans. We got a couple of releases, a couple of pre-orders. The most interesting one, which no one saw coming, I don't think anyone saw this coming or knows what it is, Master of the Universe Origins Battle for Eternia action figure 4-pack. This just immediately just looks like a bunch of kit bashing and recoloring, but there are some original elements and some interesting elements, but I'm kind of conflicted and confused about this in general. Now we have 4 characters. One looks like a Skeletor, one looks like a Hordak, one looks like a Man-at-Arms, and one looks like a random Snake Man, two-headed Snake Man. There's some nice photography of them in black and white backgrounds. But the first one, Skell Knight, he is subservient to the evil Lord of Destruction, Skeletor. So I thought it was a Skeletor, but it's kind of not, but because it's part of the whole sort of Skeletor minions, like Skella minions. I mean, the first thing I see when I look at it is the Lords of Power Beastman armor recolored. I can't quite get past it. The rest of it looks like original parts or an original design, but then you look at the feet and they're regular feet. They're not like the clawed feet like Skeletor has. So I don't know, it's like a grey face and helmet with like the ram horns, and like a green sword with the ram horns. And from a distance it looks like an original character and looks interesting, but then I can't get past the Lords of Power, because those horn things on the shoulders look ridiculous in the first place. I've yet to buy, only a few characters I haven't bought yet, I've yet to buy the Lords of Power Beastman. I thought about buying it because I just kind of felt like, well, it's just kind of one of Beastman's people. I can just look at it like that way. Maybe I could put the old yellow armor on it that the original sort of, my original Beastman wore, because, you know, I didn't have the red armor. But I'm just not sure if I can do it. Like from a distance it looks interesting, but then you look at close, you see the issues, and it's like, Now the next one is the Pit Warden, who's a multi-headed mercenary, I think it is, under the direction of King Hiss. Now this one, again, looks like an original figure, looks interesting. He's got, it's basically like two-headed, one side bright green, one side sort of light green, and one has like a dragon snake head for a hand, and the other one has an original head. It looks good, but then you get to the second head. It's basically just Vipor's head in green, but on Modulok's neck. But Modulok's neck is thin and smooth, and his head is scaly, and it just literally, it just sticks out like it doesn't fit together. They just do not go together, those parts. I'm like, why? They could have just put one of the original heads, the original head, or Vipor's head on this, and actually no, Vipor's head wouldn't have fit because it's Modulok's neck. They could have put this original head on there. I guess no, it just doesn't seem to work for me. The idea, and from a distance, but then you look up close, the second head literally doesn't fit on the body. If they'd just done this as an original figure with a snake hand and this other sort of little snake head, it could have worked, but I no. Now the next one is the Paragon Champion, which represents the Royal King's Guard of Eternia. So I'm guessing these are Randall's guards themselves. Now these are interesting. These are very much, I guess, yeah, this one's a sort of army builders, where you could have 2 of these guys on either side of King Randall, like in some display, and it'd work. It's basically Man-at-Arms, but in black with white armor, and he's got the King Randall armor in white and gold, and it looks really good. It's based, I think, on the Revelations Man at War figure, and I think it looks great. It looks really great. It's really striking, the black and the white, and it does serve a purpose, and I can imagine having 2 of these standing on either side of my King Randall, and it would work perfectly. So I think this one works. Then we get to the last one, which I actually thought was really interesting as well. I thought they'd done a good job with this. It looks like, at first I thought it was a version of Hordak, then just one of his troops or one of his followers. And someone pointed out that basically they've just recolored King Randall because I didn't buy that King Randor, which is interesting. Most of the ones I haven't bought are represented here. It looks really good though, and they've painted on the red symbol and everything, and his head is basically a mask version of the Horde symbol with almost what looks like a Hordak underneath. It's interesting. And like I said, even though it's recolored, I don't have the King Randor, so if I just got this, and this was my only use of that mold, I think it would be a better use than the King Randor, because the King Randor from 2000X, I think it was, just never seemed to fit in. I'm like, why did they do him before doing Tila or Man-at-Arms or someone that, because you had He-Man and Skeletor and Evil Lyn in those colours, and that's it, and then you go straight to King Randor, and I never really saw as King Randor and He-Man working together, so it never really worked. Yeah, the Horde Revenant comes from the Hordax Oathbreakers. So there's really no world building here. There's a tiny little bit of information. I'm guessing they're going to have at least one mini comic with this, which is going to give them some sort of backstory. But there's only so much you can do in 6 to maybe 10 pages. So if they're going to be introducing new characters, because what does this mean? They're getting towards the end of the Origins line. They're running out of original characters, which they're dragging out, giving us, because I think they don't know what to do after that. And it's like, are they just going to make up new characters? Are they just going to kit bash old characters, recolor old characters? What is the future of the Origins line? I mean, if they're going to create new comics and new characters, they need to really focus on the world building and make really good characters. They need to have good designers. Because, for example, the Snake Armor, He-Man and Skeletor I thought looked awful. I still haven't bought them. The 4-pack with that He-Man and a bunch of random Snake Men. Because, look, I'm not a total, I can have some fun with this. I bought some of the original ones because I thought they were interesting. I'm not just buying, the vintage ones in Origin form. Like this one, when you take off the yellow armor, he looks really good with the grey armor and the dark green. But they had this stupid yellow armor on him and it didn't work. And I bought him because he was on special, and I thought if I don't like it, maybe I can repaint the armor to recreate the original Man-at-Arms armor that they had with the fur around his shoulders, because that was something they did in a 4-pack that is really expensive, and they did it here. But I thought, well, maybe if I don't like the figure, maybe I can just repaint the armor and have that alternative armor for Man-at-Arms. But once I took off the orange armor on his, I think it was on his arm and leg, just with the grey, like, why didn't they just do it grey? So there are these little weird design mistakes. I'm not really trusting the choices and taste of some of the people who are designing these. If they can get in some good designers, then they could get in some original characters and they could maybe extend the line. But they probably should focus more on characters who are in the mini comics, because they're sort of separate from the cartoon, collection. So you could have the cartoon collection running, and you could have the originals doing variations of the original characters, the vintage characters, and characters from the mini comics. That's the way I could see them going forward with that. I'm not sure about creating new characters, because they've got the mini comics. They can do that. They can establish them. They can take stuff from lore. But if they're just going to be recoloring in that, I just don't know. Because, for example, Lord Grasp and the other one that came out, the purple Clawful with Trapjaw's arm, but in silver, and Dragstore's feet. Was it Drags? Basically, they just took parts from other characters. Now, in the original, they did this a lot, and people argue, oh, they did that with the originals. But usually they'd recolor a bunch of, or the basic figure, and then they just add something new, like Clawful's arm, or something like that was unique to them. By recoloring things like that and just sticking them on another figure, you're taking away from the originality of the other figure, and you're not creating anything new, really. So they've got to be really careful with it. You can basically just create a couple of random parts and create a whole new character out of like 90% reused parts. But you can't reuse individual parts. You've got to, if someone has something unique to them, you've got to keep that with them. Like Trapjaw's arm on anyone else is just wrong. Clawful's arm on anyone else is just wrong. So I didn't get those characters. They didn't work for me. These characters, a couple of them work a little bit better. But I really don't know if they can get away with recoloring and kit bashing. You got to be really careful with it to make it work, and I'm not sure some of these do. And I'm not sure if I'm okay with the idea of it in general. It does seem like just, I don't know, desperation or exploitation on some level. Like, we'll just stick any figures together and they'll just buy them because they're just collecting these figures. I'm like, no, there's a bunch of characters I haven't gotten. I haven't gotten the Lords of Power, Beastman. I haven't gotten Lord Grasp and the purple guy. I haven't gotten the Man-at-Arms. So I'm really not sure. Either way, they sell, and that's the other thing, selling them as a 4-pack, you don't have a choice. I would have gotten the Man-at-Arms and the Hordak. I wouldn't have gotten the other two. I don't know if I want to buy the whole pack because, I think they're about $65, $69 US. I don't know. I don't know. They'll be down the list along with like the Snake Man and He-Man pack, because those Snake Men were interesting recolored. Snake Men you could see as, army builders. They kind of work. I don't know where they're going with this and if they can pull it off, but I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this 4-pack.